Next topic is Chrome Developer Tools. Some people call it DevTools. Okay, so let's move on to the presentation. By the way, I posted the lab this morning, so if you have not downloaded the lab, please do. Okay, so Java Development Tools and Chrome Developer Tools. So this slide is created from Google Developer Tools website. So here we are going to learn how to author and development workflow using JavaScript, and we are going to see how we can use how we can debug the JavaScript code, and also how to use a console. So we have seen how to use console already. So we're going to actually look into a few options that we haven't tried it yet. So authoring and development workflow. So these are the things. So when you actually write code, okay, and then try to work with those codes. There are a few things you can do: docking, search and navigate and filter, and live editing and scripting. And you can change code right inside the developers, the DevTools. And you can create the snippets, and you can also have what is called a persistence extension to your Chrome browser. So let's take a look at each of these. This is a docking. So here, whenever, once you got this, the developer tools window, you can click this one to move to the right and move to the left. Okay, I'm going to explain this one using the hands-on lab in a few minutes. So this is docking and search and navigate and filter. So you can perform search inside a file. Well, actually, getting the file. So you can say Control O, and then it will give you all the files that are present, and you can just add some characters to filter things out, just like the TextMate or the Sublime text. Okay. And live editing, you can actually edit the code right there, and then you can save it. So you can do this for both the JavaScript code as well as the styles, but we are going to mostly focus on JavaScript. And you can create custom JavaScript snippets, and you can actually save those things, and then you can use it in any code that you're building. And persistent extensions. So persistent extensions let you, in fact, have a synchronization between your tools, like editor tools. In my case, Sublime Text, and in your development tools. What happens is that when you make a change in your development tools, it doesn't get automatically saved into your local file system. Okay, so by using these tools, you can actually have synchronization. So this is actually TinCL, so we're going to actually try that. All right, so let's do exercise 1. So in this lab, we are going to actually follow the tutorial from Google's website. Okay, so the Google website is the Google Developer Tools website. So this is the one. Okay, and the way that I want you to do is basically open the 2 windows. Okay, so I'm going to actually open this window on the left, and I'm going to open another one on the right. Okay, and the one that we are going to try is authoring and development workflow, this guy. Okay, and so the things we're going to try is first docking. So you can do docking to the right and docking to the bottom. Okay, so let me show you. So I'm going to just open you can just open any place, okay? But we are going to actually go to we are going to I'm going to open. So open the lab document, and yeah, I'm going to actually use my labs version of it. My labs and tools Chrome. Okay, and here I provided several applications, so you can try a simple application from the sample app directory that comes with a zip file, and I also downloaded the Backbone to do MVC application, and it's also actually part of the zip file. or you can actually access the AngularJS to do MVC application from this URL. So let me just try this URL like this, okay? And then let's try to open the developer tools, DevTools. Okay, so now this is the docking. So here right now is in the bottom. If I want to move to the right, I can just click to the right, and I can. So it's right now into the right, right? Okay, and if I want to make it to the bottom, I click it again. If I click and hold, then it's going to actually create a separate. If I create and hold and choose this one, then it will create this the window in a separate the developer tool window in a separate window. Okay, and if you click escape, then and then you can just close this guy. Okay. All right. So for now, I'm gonna just have. Oops. Yeah, I'm gonna just go back to here. And I am going to, so this is, I'll have a right side, okay? So that's docking, okay? And the next one is search and navigate and filter. So documentation is this guy, okay? Search and navigation and filter, okay? So we're gonna actually use the same application. So I'm gonna actually go to this guy, okay? So again, open it. And I am going to actually go to by the way, another thing you can do is that you can actually move this guy to the like this, okay? So you can just drag it to the right and drag it to the bottom, okay, like this, okay? Now click sources, okay? Click sources. And then you can actually click this show navigator. If you see the navigator, it will give you all the files, okay, like this, okay. And if you press the Control O, so this is the control. If you press the Control O, then it will it has a list of all the files, and you can just type in some characters. Like if I want to display to do escape.js file, this guy, then I can say maybe to do and escape or something like that. Then it will actually detect it, and I can just open it. Okay, all right. So that is actually for the searching for a file. Okay, and the text search within a current file. So if you want to find something inside this file, then you're gonna say Control F. And then let's find maybe directive, something like that. And as soon as it find it will actually it will give you the indication. And you can also replace it. So if you click the replace, you can actually replace it. Okay, so I'm going to say my directive, something like that, and let me just try to replace it. Okay, oops. Yeah, so it's actually changed. Okay, so I have my directive, and I'll change. So I'm going to applied and change it. Applied. My applied, and so this is, I can replace all, okay, like that. Okay, so that is text search and the replace, okay, and you can do text search across all files. So that is Control Shift F. So Control Shift F, and I want to search for maybe element, something like that. Then it will give you all the files that contains the string that I'm searching. You can also even actually use the regular expression. Okay, so here I'm basically trying to find any dev element that starts with it, and basically this is actually, so basically it's searching for all the dev element with a blank space and things like that. Okay. So let's try that. Dev, and I'm gonna just make it even simpler. like this. How about this? Yeah, so it actually finds pretty much all the dev. Okay, anything that starts with a div will be searched. The filter for function or selector within a file. So if you want to actually find the function of a JavaScript code, okay, basically you can do Control-Shift-O. Okay, so in this case, this is I want to actually open some JavaScript file. So let me just go to, so let me actually go to any JavaScript file that has the reasonably, if I want to find the function, let me actually see any functions. How about this? Okay, so you should have a bunch of functions. So, I can say Control-Shift-O, then it gives you the list of all the functions that are defined in this in this file. So if I search for example, sorted keys, then it goes to that function definition. Okay, all right. Jump to line number. So if you are using Windows, it says Control L, but somehow that didn't work. So you got to use a Control G. So Control G works. So if I go to Control G, then I can provide the line number 45, and it goes to the line number. Okay. Live editing and strict, live editing script and style. So I have already changed the file, right? So here, okay, so it's been changed to my directive, right? So I replaced it, okay. Right, so I can change it, and you can actually you can actually click the this SRC here, okay, in the HTML file to get to the JS file, or you can search, you can get the file from app.js, or you can just say Control O as we learned, okay. All right. By the way, whenever you make a changes, that changes will be actually executed at evaluation time. Okay, so meaning the modification, even if you made the modification, if that code is not get executed, then you're not going to actually see the change. That's basically what this guy is talking about. All right, the styles. I'm going to actually skip the styles because we want to actually focus on JavaScript. Save as. So if I want to save this guy, I can select the save as. And then it will actually give me an option to save that particular file someplace. Okay, so I can save this file somewhere in maybe temp. Because I'm actually accessing this file from the HTTP server from the internet, I cannot save it directly, okay? But I should be able to save, in my local directory, okay? Yeah, so let's assume that I can do it. It's not a big deal. Okay, let's see. I can do save as. Okay, local modification. Now, you can actually find out how many changes you've made and what changes you have made. So if you actually right-click it, and then if you see the local modification, you can see the changes that I have made. Okay, so I can revert it, and yeah, so I made the 2 changes here. Okay, and I can revert it. So let me just revert it like this, and revert, and then revert. Okay, no changes. Okay, so that's that. And yeah, so it gave you all the, you can actually see the differences. Yeah, I wish I didn't actually delete that. I can actually see the differences. If you double click it, if you click it, if you expand it, then you can see what change has been made. Okay. The next one is a custom JavaScript snippet. Snippet is actually a snippet of code. In many cases, you want to take advantage of the snippet code written by someone else, right? Or you want to actually write your own snippet so that you can actually use that snippet in some, code, okay? So you can actually, so again, expand this guy, and then you are going to see snippet tab here. So click snippet, and then you can create a brand new one, like a snippet. And so this is a name. So I'm going to say Sang Shin.js or something like that, and I'm gonna say console log JPassion.com rocks, something like that. So very simple code, and I can execute this one. Let's see. Oh, I can actually execute by right-clicking here and run it, and then you can see it's being executed. Okay. Now there is in fact the setup, so you can certainly, and you can search so creating snippets, and you can snippet file name, you can change the file name, like rename it. So I'm gonna actually I can rename this guy Sang Shin 2, whatever. So I can actually rename it, and I can edit and execute snippets. That's actually what I showed you. I can select it and run it, right? Okay. And I can also actually evaluate in console. So here, oh, so that evaluating console is actually inside the snippet. Wait a minute. Why it doesn't actually show evaluating console? That's actually something I've done this morning. If you instead wish to evaluate specific line, oh, specific line. So you have to select it, select the line, for example, like this, and then select the line. Let's see what I can do this. Ah, okay, I forgot. Oh yeah, so that's the one, evaluating console. Okay, and then it runs. Okay, all right. That is that. Local modifications, yes, so you can certainly modify it right there. And you can also actually make a breakpoint in the snippet as well. Okay, so we're gonna actually do it, making a breakpoint and doing some debugging in our next exercise. You can certainly save snippets, so you can certainly save as. Again, you can save in the local file system. Okay, and again, the navigation of snippets also works. Okay, so Control O, and if you find the Sang Shin, so this is a snippet I just created, right? Okay. Persistent extensions. So the persistent extensions, so in my case, I have already installed what is called the TinCR. So there are two different options. Okay. Oops. So these are the plugins to your browser, the Chrome browser. So you can use either TinCR and DevTools. Okay. So if I actually, so I'm running with the HTTP the application from the web. So let me actually try to open the local file. Okay. So I'm going to go to samples, and let me try to, I'm going to actually try the backbone.js file index. Okay, so this is the same application. Oops, this one. Okay, so this is the backbone application that I have in the local file system. So if I actually open this file, so so this is the application here. What I want to do is whenever I make a change here, I want that change to be reflected in my editor. Okay. So, how about this JS file here? And I'm going to go to routers. So router.js file. So let's actually search for, so you have to install the plugin. So basically, if you just click this guy, okay, click this guy, and then you should be able to just click this one. Okay. So in my case, I have already installed it, but if you have not installed it, just click this guy, and then it will install the plugin to your browser. Okay, and then add to Chrome. Okay, and you can take a look how things work right here. It basically shows, whatever change you make in your editor is going to be reflected in your development tools, and whatever change you make in the development tools will be reflected in your the editor. Okay, so they are in sync. Okay, so let me actually show that. Okay, so the file that we are trying to work is actually I want to actually open this guy on the left, and this guy is on the right. So I want to actually open the router.js file. So let's say Control O, router. .js file. So router.js file is the open here, and so I'm gonna open that right here as well. Okay. So so it is a correct, yeah. So they are in sync, right? Now, if I want to change this code, so I'm gonna actually make a change here. Sang Shin changed this file, and then if I just save it, okay. Oh, actually, I expected. Oh, okay. So let me try to save as, and let me go to my apps. No, not this one. My labs. My labs, and tools Chrome, and samples, backbone.js, JavaScript file, routers, and router. You want to replace it. All right, so I expected whenever I make a change, this one should actually reflect it, but I guess it didn't. So let me make a change here. Changed, made from editor. Save the change, and maybe I have to actually configure this guy. Okay, so project type, HTML webs is not web server. It's just a configuration file. Chrome extension and root directory. Oh, okay, so I have to actually sync this guy, I guess. All right, so yeah, I have to actually sync. So I'm gonna go to my labs, and the Chrome here, and samples, and the one is this guy. So that is the root. Okay. All right, so that is, hopefully that is now synced. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go to the sources again. Okay. Now let's, oh, so now it's actually changed. Okay, so let me actually try to make another change. Hello, and save. Oh, it didn't change. I forgot some configuration issues. I mean, I've done this one before a couple of days ago. So, but the whole idea is that being able to actually make a change here and then gets reflected right here, the right away. And whatever change you make in your editor should be also reflected like this. So that is basically persistence, the persistent extension that we are talking about here. Okay. Yeah. So that is this persistent extensions. Okay. And also, it does also say the support, whenever you make a change and save the change, and then your browser will be reflecting the change right away. Okay. All right. So that is the exercise one. So I'm going to give you guys about the 17 minutes, and also let's have 30 minutes lunch time. So we will be back at 1:30, 1:30. Okay. So there is, in fact, the collection of useful snippets created by Brian Greenstead. So you can go to his link, and then you are going to see the list of all the snippets that have been collected. Okay. So let me actually try to use one of these snippets. So these are the snippets that you can use right away. You can see these are immediately invocable function, right? So I'm going to create. I'm going to just copy, and in fact I created already. This is the one that I've created. I just copied over here, right? And then I can just run it. If I run it, and let's actually see what it runs. Run. Snippets, and you should be able to run it. Yeah, so yeah, I expect something like this. Okay, like, yeah, so something like oh, not this one. Form control. Oh, actually, form controls. Yeah, so this is, yeah, so basically it shows all HTML form elements with the values and types in the nice table. Oh, okay. So the reason it didn't show is because I didn't select the HTML file. Okay, so let me select the HTML file somewhere. Oh, wait a minute. This is this HTML file, and it should actually run in these form controls. Yeah, so that is the one. And when I run it, undefined. That's interesting. So it should actually display this. Okay, that worked this morning. Let me just try to create another one. Create the new one. And yeah, so that's good enough name, and save it. Okay, and then I'm going to save it, and then snippet, run it. Why is that? Let me just. Okay, so one of the things, and I was not able to actually demonstrate to you guys, actually, the getting the snippets to work, right? Okay, yeah, the reason it didn't work is that this form controls the snippet is actually looking for a form element, and the page I'm looking at didn't have any form element. That's the reason it didn't work. Okay, so I created another snippet from, it's just the, this snippet is just displaying whatever color of that page. Okay. So I copied this file and I created this snippet number 5. Okay, so I'm gonna actually run it. Now it works. Okay, yeah. So my previous form controls, it just happened to be the page that doesn't have any form element. That's why. Okay, so even though it worked, it doesn't display any visible sign of it. That's why. So this morning I had in fact a page that has a form element, so that's the reason it was able to display it on table. Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next. So next one is debugging JavaScript code. So if you have worked with any programming language, debugging is very important, and JavaScript coding is not an exception. So we need some debugger that you can do step-by-step source code level debugging, and that's what we are going to do here. So debugging with a breakpoint. So you can, we can, source panel debugging with the breakpoints, live editing, handling exceptions, preprint, and working with source maps. So let's take a look at these things. Yeah, so this is the source panel. So, we have already seen this one. So in terms of the debugging, you can make a breakpoint. Okay, so when you make a breakpoint, all you have to do is just click on the sidebar here, and then you make a breakpoint. And once you make a breakpoint, the list of all the breakpoints are visible here. And then, if you run the application, it will stop there. Then you can actually go to pause, resume, step through code, and you can also see the values of the watch expressions. Okay, so some variables you can specify it, and you can see the values of those things. Okay, so we can actually do the hands-on lab on that. Again, so this is basically an example where we made the 3 breakpoints, okay, like this. So, and live editing, you can certainly change your code right there, okay. So very convenient. Preprint, in many cases, the file that you're getting from the web, for example, jQuery and Dojo, you want to actually, you use a minified version of it, which means it's not really easy to see in your debugging console. So you can actually select, this is actually preprint. If you click this one, then it will display in pretty format so that you can see what's going on in those library files. Source maps. So basically, source maps are generic mapping format that are JSON based, which can be used by processing files to create. Yeah, so what it means is this. Again, in many cases, when you deploy your application, if you actually debugging that deployed application, bunch of JavaScript files are combined into a single file, so that the size of it and also that the loading time is actually smaller. Okay. Now, when you're actually trying to debug those code, it's rather difficult to actually, debug with a single one giant file, right? So source maps is actually provided so that, by giving this information to the debugger, debugger will figure things out, which file is in fact part of what big file is actually, what is the real separate file and things like that. So basically, it will help you to debug the JavaScript code that are all combined into a single file. Okay, but in the debugger, they will in fact separate them out as a separate files. So that is the debugger. All right, so let's do JavaScript debugging. Okay, so let's go to the hands-on lab documentation. So debugging. Again, we're going to actually use the lab documentation. So again, I want you to open two windows. Okay, so I'm going to have this one, and I'm going to have this one on the right side. Okay, and I'm going to, so here we're going to actually use this sample application that is provided under JavaScript obj hash file. Okay, so I'm going to just open that file. Sample, and this one. Yeah, this is the code that we have learned yesterday. Okay, so if you take a look at the code, basically what it does is, not this, yeah, this, I want sources. So sources, and if you take a look at this code, the code I'm dealing with is JavaScript object hash file. Okay, yeah, so this is what I meant. Somehow even if I open it, the contents is not visible right away, so I have to refresh it. Okay, so basically it's calling my person object, and my person object is call, and then you're calling the this tell your age method and tell something method, tell whatever method. Okay, so that the this guy is actually using two script files, my own JavaScript 1.js file, my own JavaScript 2 file. Okay, so if I search for this file, my own, then let's take a look at this file. So here we defined two functions, function defined somewhere and the display method. Okay, and whenever display is called, is actually incrementing counter. Okay, and let's take a look at the second file. So this is the so in this case it's just defined the my person JavaScript object. Okay, so it does have the first name, last name, and age properties, and then it has a tell your age, tell something, tell whatever properties, and those are function object. Okay, so these are the methods. Okay, so very simple. So when we and then if you take a look at the HTML file, okay, basically this is what gets displayed. Okay. All right. So what we want to do is we want to make a breakpoint. Okay. So let's make a breakpoint on the let's see where you. So we want to make a breakpoint on this counter. Okay, so you just click this guy. As soon as you make a breakpoint, you can see the breakpoints is actually described here. Okay, and here you can actually add a watch position. So the right now the counter is the counter. Yeah, let's actually remove this guy, delete watch expression, and then add counter. Like this. Okay, all right, so now let's actually refresh the page, and you can see now the breakpoint is hit here. Okay, so counter is 1. Okay, now I can step over, so this is the step over, so I go to step over, and then you can see counter is incremented 2. Okay, And you can see all the scope, local variables, and the global variables. Okay, so this is all global variable, which is a window object, and this is local variable. Local variable in this case is something, and this is window. Okay, so this something, this is local variable. Okay. All right. So now what we can do is we can change code right here. So I'm gonna actually start with maybe 3. Okay. Oops. And then save the change, and then you can see counter is changed to 3. Okay. And you can actually move forward, and if you just continue and then continue, you can see the value that I changed is, because we started from 3, the counter value is 4. I can change it right. This is watch expression, so I don't think I can change it here. It's just the displaying whatever current value that is. But I can change this one, again, if I change to scope variables. Okay, so if I it's paused. Actually, now one more thing you can do is you can another thing is in the when the breakpoint is hit, you can actually see the if you move your mouse and hold on to it to a variable, then it gives you a value. Counter value is 5 right now. Okay, and you can actually see the function description here like that. Okay, so that is making a breakpoint. And the next one that I like to try is, yes, again, if you take a look at the laptop, the Google documentation. So this is basically what we just did. Okay, so make a breakpoint. So you can make a multiple breakpoints. Okay, and then you can step over, and you can actually do continue here. So you can over here, then it will just keep going. Okay, and and then you can change the value again, 33 or maybe. Okay, save the change, and then again continue here. Okay, and you can just go over like this. Okay, so now value, you can see the value has been changed. Okay, you can also change HTML5 right here. No, I'm sorry, the actually JavaScript file I meant. So if I change this one to H1, so this is okay. So you can step over, and so we're able to actually change these things. The next thing I want to actually try is the conditional breakpoint. So in this case, conditional breakpoint could be actually useful. So suppose if you're in a loop, and if you want to make a breakpoint only when a particular value of that loop reaches a certain point, because you do not want to actually make a breakpoint every single time that loop is actually set. So what you can do is, for example, I want to make a breakpoint only when counter value, reaches the 40 or something like that. Okay. So what you can do is you can right click here and then edit breakpoint. And then you can actually provide the condition here. So counter is, oops. Yeah, counter, I want to actually make a breakpoint only counter is greater than 40. Okay. So in this case, the breakpoint will be hit only when the counter value is. So by the way, when you actually have a conditional breakpoint, the color gets changed to this kind of orange value. Okay, so until counter becomes 40, it will not. So I'm gonna just refresh the page, and oops, I want to actually go to. So I'm gonna just go here. And breakpoint is not being hit. Okay, and again refresh the page, no break is being hit, okay, until it becomes until it becomes 40, okay. Why it doesn't actually refresh it? Oh, okay, because we're actually starting from 33 as old as 36. So I'm going to just actually change this one to 40, okay. All right. So you can see, when it didn't actually reach 40, I mean, the breakpoint didn't get met, right? So now I'm changing to 40. Actually, yeah. So I'm gonna actually make it, yeah. So now breakpoint is actually hit, right? Because it is actually greater than 40, which is a 41. Okay. So you can have a conditional breakpoint like that. Okay. All right. So I think that's pretty much what I expect you guys to do. So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to try that exercise. The last debugging tool topic is using console. So we already have used console in many occasions. So this is not something new. So this is a console API that you can use, console.log, console.error, and console.assert. So we'll see some of these examples in the end-zone lab. And you can also use command line APIs in the console. Okay, so basically you can think of console as a shell in which you can actually do, evaluate expressions or issue commands. So the things you can do is, for example, convenience functions for selecting DOM elements. Okay, and methods for controlling CPU profiler, aliases for number of console API methods, monitoring events, and view event listeners registered on events. So these are the things that you can do within a console. So in the console, you can do pretty much, anything. So evaluating expressions, so you can actually type this. So what I want to get is I want to have a first element child from a body of a document. Okay. And then I want to get the date object value, so date.now, and the selecting element I can actually use, yeah. So this is it's almost like a jQuery type of notation, and you can actually use in the console as well. Okay, so basically what I want to get is I want the element ID whose element, I want to actually get an ID. I'm sorry, I want to get an element whose ID is login button, and so that's basically, if the page has that element, and then it will display. Same thing here. In this case, I want to actually get the multiple. Okay. Inspecting DOM elements in JavaScript heap object. Okay, so basically you can, run this code. Okay, so this is again CSS 3 like selector notation, and this is something that we are going to learn a bit more detail when we learn jQuery. Basically, I want to get on the UL and the news, and then a child li element. Okay, so basically, this is the UL is the UL, and dot news means news is actually class, the CSS class. So I want to get to the UL element whose style is news, and then I want to actually get the first li element. So that's the reason it's actually getting this. Okay, and this one is inspecting the last of it. And you can actually access these things as well. Okay. And monitoring events, you can actually call monitor event. If there is a resize event, I want to actually get notified. Okay. All right, so the last one is the debugger. So basically, I want you to go through the same lab documentation from from Google, actually the same tutorial from Google, and try a few things. Okay, so you can actually you can certainly copy this code and run it. Okay, assuming there is in fact, yeah. So you have to actually find some page. You want to actually go to some page that is a P. Okay, and then you're actually adding it. Okay, and then you're actually getting, yeah. So in this case, oh, this is creating an element. So I can just run this code any place, okay, because it's not dependent on anything. So let me just do that, run it, and then it returns node count 2, okay. And errors. So in this case, connect to server. So is console error method displays a red icon along with the message text when it, yeah, so whenever there is actually a problem, so in this case, we are just displaying the error. So this one still should work, meaning I can just copy it and run it, and it will just it will just display this error. So when you're using console error, you can see the color of the message is different, and you can see this X here, and you can also see the error object basically. Assertions. You can actually do assertions like this. Okay, so basically when things are not, so in this case, I'm actually comparing this with this. Okay, and if they do not match, then it will return this error condition. Filtering. So you can, you can display only the console error message here, or you can just, so you can, right now as a default, we are seeing everything all, but you can select only, you can click errors, only see the errors or warnings. So if I actually see, in this case, if I want to see only warnings, then I should not see errors. If I click errors, then I should see them. Okay, and this is for seeing the loggings. Okay. All right, and grouping out, you can usually group related console output statement together in a console with a console group. So yeah, let's actually see how that works. Okay, yeah, so like it's actually kind of structured. And so this is the string substitution and formatting. So when you're using console.log file, you can use this format specifier. For example, this is I'm using some format file. Yeah, so you can see D is coming from. Yeah, this is length is using this D, which is which is decimal. A digital decimal, I guess. Okay, yeah, D right here is the integer. D is integer. Okay, and you can format formatting DOM elements as JavaScript object. Okay, and styling and the command line object. Okay, so you can certainly actually run, for example, document body first element ID, for example. So you can try that. Document body dot first, like this, and see what it returns. Okay, so it's returning this. Okay, and you can certainly try date.now. Okay, and selecting element. So I can use this. I can use this notation. So let me see what we have here. I'm going to, if you take a look at the HTML document like this, and I want to find, I want to actually have, oh, the HTML, I cannot actually change it. Okay. Yeah, so basically you can what I can do is I'm gonna just search the body element. Okay, so I can say this one and body like this, then it should return the body. Okay, body object. Okay, so inspecting DOM elements and Java heap objects. Okay. And accessing the recently selected elements and object, and monitoring events, and controlling CPU profile. So we're gonna actually do have another session in the future for the profiling from performance perspective. So this could be actually useful. All right, so I'm going to give you guys about 10 or 15 minutes to try this. Okay.